My name's Ellen Bremner. I know many of you just from hosting these before and working with your class. I'm an assistant director here at the college. With us is my colleagues in the CC Fund. We have Lynn Kreider. If you can just say hi, Lynn.
Hello.
The director of the annual fund, Michael Spicer.
Hello.
And then we like to introduce two new CC Fund employees, Cody Riggers and Shelby St. Clair. They're both assistant directors, and they're just gonna spend a little time introducing themselves to you all and tell you a little bit about what they're doing at the college. Okay, Cody, do you want to start?
Hi, everybody. My name is Cody Riggers. I grew up in Lapwai, Idaho. I joined Con June 2022, so this year in June. I oversee classes from 2012 through 2026. I manage all manner of student fundraising groups on campus. So the student advancement officers, if some of you have been that in the past, you know the group I'm working with. We are hard at work. My group is actually in Shane right now, making calls to alums for the Shattering Expectations campaign, which is very exciting. I also sit on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion committee, and tomorrow we are doing a virtual watch party of FX's Reservation Dogs. Feel free to tune in. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send me an email. My email is criggers@concall.edu. I'm happy to take any inquiries about it. I am personally Indigenous. I come from the Nez Perce Reservation. I grew up on the reservation, and I'm both Nez Perce and Crow Creek Sioux, and will give the introductory remarks of tomorrow's watch party and discussion. Otherwise, I'm very happy to be at Con, very excited to work with the students and the CC Fund team, and I'm excited to meet you all today. And if you are in the classes 2012 through 2026, we'll be chatting. We got a lot to talk about and to connect on. Thanks so much.
Is it my turn? I think it's my turn.
It is.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shelby, Assistant Director of Annual Giving. I've been at Con for a little over a year now. I've been on a couple CGO calls in the past. I was previously the Leadership and Annual Giving Coordinator, and now I get to work with the classes of 2000 to 2011. I also do a lot of our back-end project management with our databases and our giving pages and all of that stuff. So it's been a lot of fun working with this team, and I'm really excited for what's to come.
Great, thank you. All right, next we're going to do roll call, and I'm going to do it starting with the 50s. And I'd like to ask AA board members, when you introduce yourself as an AA board member so everyone knows. Okay, I'm going to start with the 1950s.
Helene Zimmerloh, 1957.
Hello, Helene.
Hi.
I know we got Judy Acker on too.
Judy Acker, 1957.
All right. I think that's it for the 50s. Okay, 1960s.
Suzanne Krantz, 1968.
Hello.
Hello.
Billy Nygren, 1960.
Hi, Nellie. Welcome.
Heather Morrison, 1969, and I'm secretary of the alumni board.
Susan Hinkle, I'm 1965, and I'm on the alumni board on 2 committees.
Okay, great. And I saw Janet Wallens raised her hand. Is she still on? Well, welcome, Janet. I cannot.
She's listed as on, but she's
Okay.
also muted.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, welcome, Janet. Okay, are we done with the, oh, she looks like she's, nope. Okay, is that it for the 60s? All right.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to the 70s.
Cynthia Conrad, 1970.
Hello.
Ben
Dave
Sperry.
Clark, the pivotal class of 1973, 50th reunion. Yay.
Caroline Cole, 1974. Right behind you.
Look forward to it.
I'm Brian Roby, class of 73.
Great.
I can go next. I'm Ben Sperry, class of 1979.
And Ben, I'll follow you. Chip Clothier, class of 70, the great class of 79,
You're here.
and alumni board president.
Okay, wonderful. Is that it for the 70s? I think so. All right, now we're moving on to the 80s.
Yeah, I'll go. Annie Scott, class of 84.
Hi, Annie. Good to see you.
Deb Hay, class of 89.
Malik Cummins, class of 89.
Noel Ifshin, class of 89.
Nancy White, class of 87.
All right, great. Now we're moving on to the 90s.
Hi, everyone. Amy Snyder, class of 1995.
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Hi, Jen Mans here from the class of 94, and I am co-chair of the Alumni Board Development Committee.
Is that it for the 90s? All right, now we're moving on to the 2000s.
Hi, everyone. Erin Mogul, class of 2009.
Hi, Erin.
Emily Cohen, class of 2006.
Hello.
Harris Rosenheim here, class of 2009 as well. Also alumni board, vice president and co-chair of the development committee.
Julia K-Back, 18.
Dion Jordan, 17.
Dion, it's good to see you. I don't think I've seen you since graduation.
Good to see you as well.
5-year reunion, woot woot. Forgot to mention that.
All right, did we get everyone?
Wes Montclair, class of 2020.
Oh, hey, Wes.
How's it going?
Good. Okay, I think we got everyone.
I think we had one. Marcia, did you get introduced?
No,
Okay.
no, Marcia Phillips, class of 63.
Okay, great. Great.
Also
Well,
reunion.
oh, got a lot of reunion classes on here. Great. Okay, well, welcome everybody. And as I mentioned today, we've got a pretty exciting agenda planned. We are going to talk about the Defy Boundaries, the campaign for Connecticut College. Then we're going to give you a CC Fund update, and then we're going to talk about Giving Tuesday and what you all can do to help. And to kick it off, Michael's going to be talking with us about Defy Boundaries. So I'm going to pass it on to Michael.
Hey, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for your ongoing leadership and support every single year. The best indicator of how well colleges like Con are able to perform on an annual basis in terms of advancement work is a reflection of the alumni volunteers who do their best to go and support the college every year. So thank you so much for your service. I'm going to talk a little bit about the comprehensive campaign that we're in right now, which started in fiscal year 18. So that's basically 7/1/2017. And we publicly launched the campaign in October of last year. And the first thing I want to say about this is that we're thinking about how we should be marketing this kind of in certain ways based on questions and feedback that we've heard. And something that comes to the top of mind is everything counts. So a gift to the CC fund in a reunion year counts as part of the campaign. A gift to athletics counts as part of the campaign. An endowment gift, a capital gift, everything counts as part of a comprehensive campaign. So that's kind of kicking things off, and we'll move on to the next slide, please. So progress to date, we are in, again, year 6, again, starting off in fiscal year 18, and we've raised 244 million out of a very ambitious goal of 300 million. That's slightly over 80%. That is absolutely fantastic when you take a look at that $300 million goal, especially over some of the years when we've been, when our campaign has been active. It is the most ambitious campaign in the college's history, and the 300 goal is going to really provide for some transformative outcomes for the college, for our students, and for the entire Connecticut college community. So we're averaging 40 million a year, and that takes into account in 2020 when we raised $14 million. So keeping in mind that 40 million is an average over that period of time, which includes an extremely down year in 2020, that is a sign of a strong foundation. And over the course of the campaign, we have seen 44,700 individual gifts from 13,000 individual contributors. And those are alumni, parents, families, faculty, staff, students, friends. But again, it is a very strong base over the course of the comprehensive campaign. We go to the next slide. We have, again, 2 years remaining in the campaign. If we take into account that we're almost at the end of our second quarter in fiscal year 23, we've got about 18 months remaining in the campaign. We expect to successfully conclude the campaign at the end of fiscal year 24. And our goal is to raise on average $30 to $35 million per year in our current year and next year, which will allow us to effectively meet and exceed that 300 million goal. We are going to be having a participation challenge for alumni in fiscal year 24. We are taking a look at how that can be most effectively positioned. Alumni participation is one of the few areas of the Connecticut College community that has not increased over the course of the campaign. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. But again, alumni participation is one area that we want to do everything we can to effectively, positively impact. So we will be coming on out with an innovative, fun, interactive, inspiring participation challenge in the final year of the campaign. If we take a look at the 5 areas of the campaign, and we can go to all of these, here they are. We're taking a look at teaching and learning, career preparation, student life, athletics, and basically financial strength. I'm going to be kind of taking a deeper dive into Ignite Possibilities financial strength, because here's the component of the campaign which is most closely connected to the CC fund. And again, as alumni volunteers, that's by and large what you're talking with your classmates about. But of course, there are multiple ways to support the college over the course of the campaign. And when we take a look at building financial strength, the tagline Ignite Possibilities, which again, if you got our fall appeal by mail and everything else that the CC Fund is putting out over the course of this year, you'll see that Ignite Possibilities as part of that. There are really three main components of building financial strength. That's unrestricted endowment, scholarships and financial aid, and the Connecticut College Fund. And we'll take a look at each of these. So if we move on to the next slide, please. Great. Unrestricted endowment. So unrestricted endowment is when alumni, faculty, friends, basically name Connecticut College in their estate plans, but don't say, oh, I wanted to go to a specific area. I wanted to go to a specific endowment area or a capital project, for instance. So when that happens, and it actually happens, it isn't infrequent in terms of Con may not know that it's been named in estate plans, and when Con finds out that it's the beneficiary of that bequest, those funds will oftentimes go into unrestricted endowment so that the college can invest that over time, and the spinoff goes to the area of immediate need on an annual basis. So again, these really do provide certainty for the college's financial future. And 110 million of the 242 million, which is slightly over 40% of campaign contributions, have gone towards the endowment since the campaign kicked off. Not all of these are unrestricted, but again, a fair amount are. As we go to the next slide, which is scholarships and financial aid. Here are some points which I know that the Connecticut College team and all of advancement is extremely proud of, and I hope that alumni here are as well. And that is that 85%, there's been an 85% increase in scholarships and financial aid awarded to students over the last 10 years. That certainly hasn't been easy to do, but it's been a commitment of Con, and again, our financial team working across campus has been able to make that possible. And again, that provides for access for students in so many cases, regardless of financial circumstance. Close to 60% of students do receive some sort of need-based aid. Approximately $50 million is awarded annually in need-based financial aid to current students. And the most recent stats that we have, and we do need to update this for the class of 2022, but for the class of 2021 is on average, student debt at the time of commencement was $22,740. So again, we hear throughout the news that student indebtedness is a problem, and it is. However, at Con, it's good to be able to see that, again, here is a number which in many cases is where in many cases students and alumni are able to pay off that without the type of burden that maybe students from other colleges and universities have. So again, that's been the investment in scholarships and financial aid over the course of the campaign. And as we move forward, taking a look at opportunities to support scholarships and financial aid. So anyone can earmark their gift to the Connecticut College Fund to go towards scholarships and financial aid. And when we saw that approximately $50 million is awarded annually to scholarships and financial aid, that means that any amount that anybody gives to scholarships and financial aid through the CC fund goes towards that. And again, that bucket could be filled up so many times over and over again, and it goes to our students. We do have named annual scholarships, which begin at $100,000, which is payable at over 4 years at $25,000 per year. And then you can see here that we have contributors who choose to basically create endowed scholarships that spin off in perpetuity. And you can see that, again, for the cost of basically to basically fully support a student over the course of a year, which is approximately $80,000, that would take an endowed scholarship of $1.8 million. And then our minimum endowed scholarship begins at $250,000, and that supports the student at an annual rate of approximately $11,000. And you can see everything in between. As we go to the next slide, I want to kind of get into where the Connecticut College Fund has been over the course of the campaign, which again begins in fiscal year 18. But you can see we've got some data that goes back to fiscal year 15. And in fiscal year 15, we raised $5.57 million. And we've seen that steadily increase with the exception of fiscal year 19 to $6.85 million last year in fiscal year 22. Every year we're aiming further, and our goal for fiscal year 23 for the Connecticut College Fund is going to be $7 million. And again, the Connecticut College Fund comprises approximately 6% of the college's annual operating budget. And again, the college relies on these funds in order to make everything happen across campus. So again, we're putting our best foot forward to meet that goal. And these next 6 weeks are going to be instrumental to that. The college will raise about 2/3 of its total fundraising over the course of a fall semester, and about 1/3 of alumni participation. Whereas in the spring semester, the college will raise about 1/3 of its total fundraising and about 2/3 of alumni participation. So again, we see the highest monetary value contributions come on in at the end of the calendar year. And then we see more of our alumni participation come on in the spring semester. Again, between fiscal year 15 and fiscal year 22, there's about a 23% increase in the Connecticut College Fund, which comes on out to be about 3% per year. And then again, starting off in fiscal year 18, which is the first year of the campaign, you can see that we've increased from 6.1 million to 6.85 last year. At the same time, alumni participation has decreased In fiscal year 22, we had 5,200 alumni donors, and that's compared with 6,000 in fiscal year 18. Between about fiscal year 15 through 18, we were seeing about 6,000 alumni donors consistently. In fiscal year 20, which again was we did stop kind of fundraising in early spring. That went down to 4,100 alumni donors. In fiscal year 21, we were able to increase that to 5,400 alumni donors, and then 5,200 last year. So again, over the course of the campaign, we've seen about a 13% decrease in terms of total number of alumni who support CON on an annual basis. And that is something which, again, certainly for fiscal year 23, our current year, and for the final year of the campaign, when we will be having a major participation challenge, that is something which we want to be able to invest significant attention and energy into from all areas of the CC Fund, certainly through alumni volunteers, so that we can go and work to increase our alumni individual donors back over that 6,000 mark. That's what we're aiming for. And I can say that, again, these numbers are, in terms of certainly the Connecticut College Fund fundraising totals, are impressive. The last 3 years have been Connecticut College Fund overall records, and there are so many people here with us who have been a big part of making that happen. So again, thank you for your partnership. It is paying off in extremely positive ways. I think that is kind of my historical cover of the campaign and where we are currently in the Connecticut College Fund. I will share some updates for our current fiscal year 23. But before I do that, I'll take some time and see if there are any kind of questions or comments.
I have a question. I think I'm unmuted. It's probably obvious, but how did there get to be 44,700 gifts from 13,000 donors?
Yes, absolutely. So again, we are in year 6 of the campaign, and there are alumni who choose to give every single month, for instance. So again, if you do 12 times 6, that starts to add up. Certainly not everybody is on a monthly recurring gift, but again, we absolutely do see our most faithful and consistent supporters give to CON multiple times a year. For example, we're currently running a Shatter Expectations campaign for the Camel Athletics Fund, and we've already seen individuals who have supported that multiple times for multiple teams.
Michael, it's David from class 73.
Hey, Dave.
I'm hearing a rough goal of 6,000 donors, and I believe there are somewhere south of 30,000 living alumni. I believe it's probably around 27, 28,000. My quick math says that percentage of giving is now under 20%. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. However, and again, I'm just pulling out my calculator here. We have a base right now of approximately 25,000 alumni who are solicitable. So in that total base, We have alumni who we do not have contact information for, so we're not able to solicit them. And then we certainly have a number of alumni who have basically opted out to receiving communications from the college, who also are not part of our base. So again, when you take into account those alumni who have opted out or the college cannot communicate with, our base last year was 24,700. I think it's 25,018 right now. So again, when we get up to 6,000, that's going to be approximately a 24% participation rate, which is an increase from last year at approximately 21%.
That's terrible that it's only 25%. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I've given every year since I graduated, and I just can't believe not. I know people, I have some on my list who won't give, but I still think it's incorrigible.
No, I appreciate you saying that, and that's the absolute right attitude. And that's that, again, I think that, and I know that a number of people here think that Con should have a much higher participation rate, and especially when taking into account that alumni participation is a weighted factor by college ranking publications. And again, everybody wants to see the value of Con increase in the public eye. I will say that, again, when you're taking a look at the average participation rate of classes in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it's higher than the baseline. We currently have about 40% of our entire alumni solicitable base that has graduated since 2000. And between the classes of 2000 and 2021 are where we're currently seeing the alumni participation, which is on average below our baseline participation. It's actually around 14 to 17% in a given year. So again, part of our participation challenge and where we need to focus is on our youngest 20 or so classes and working to increase participation among those classes. And again, absolutely thrilled to have Cody and Shelby here, who are really actively getting to know those classes, getting to know those class leaders when we don't have leaders from those classes, encouraging people to get involved and starting that off, because it is a long game, but we're absolutely committed to it. But I hear you, Judy.
Well, it seems to me that I've always been told it's not how much you give, but it's if you give. And I would think even if you graduated in 2000 and you're in grad school or something, you could muster up $25.
Right. No, and that's it, is that any amount counts, whether you give $5, $500, or $5,000, that's it. It's all equal. And again, these college ranking publications, they take alumni participation as a proxy for student satisfaction. And it's an imperfect proxy, but it's the one they choose. And they say that if a student was satisfied with their college experience, they will choose to give a gift regardless of the amount. So whether it's $1, $5, $10, $20, and basically $20.23, that participation counts as much as a principal or a capital gift.
Michael, another question, please.
Yes, Dave.
You mentioned the unrestricted gifts coming from folks' estate plans. Is there some consideration built in for the fact that the markets this year have been very soft? The joke about people having 401ks that are now 301ks. And counter to that, of course, is the fact that real estate values have gone up. And in a lot of cases, real estate is part of people's estate plans. How do you folks balance out big economic countervailing balances and shifts like that? in terms of how
Absolutely.
to evaluate, you know, has the market helped what you think is coming, or has the market hurt what you think is coming?
So, so there are folks at the college who are much more qualified to speak on the subject than I am. However, what I do know is that, again, we have a new CFO who we're hiring for. We have investment firms who we work with. We have a committee on the board of trustees who is on top of this. And that is that, again, there's always going to be good years and bad years in the market. It is uncertain and unpredictable. And because of that, Connecticut College, like a number of colleges, takes into account a rolling average. And I want to say that that average is over 5 years. It could be 7 years, but again, it takes a look at a long period of data, so that again, if 1 year the return rate is going to be 13%, and then another year it's going to be 3%, again, it's going to go and kind of solve for both of those. So for example, when we take a look at endowed scholarship support, for example, even if the market is spinning off a very high rate of return, we are going and taking into account a 4.5% average spin-off, because again, that's what we expect our endowment to be able to go and do over that period of time. In some cases, it may exceed expectations. In other cases, it may underperform. But again, there is that kind of length of view and that time horizon where it's not just taking a look at certain years, but it's taking a look at a long period of time. And I wish I could answer that a little bit more specifically, but that is what I do know, Dave.
Thank you.
Sure. I saw a question on over here, Noel.
Do you, other than the fact that you know that the younger class years, the more recent graduates have a lower participation rate, do you know what's accounting for that? I mean, we understand that the COVID years of maybe 20 and 21 and not being able to have a live in-person reunion can attribute to lower participation rates. But last year there was a live in-person reunion. So I would think that last year's participation rate would have been higher than 21's.
Yeah. No, it is a very good question. So
I don't mean to interrupt you, but have we asked? Because there are sometimes where I make calls or I email people and they say they won't give, and I will immediately ask them why. And sometimes they get very honest answers. So I haven't encountered that in a while, but you know, years ago we used to. And we've sort of been able to, you know, they didn't know that their money could go to a specific place, or we've been able to answer some of their questions. So I'm just curious as to what, if we know the why, so that we can maybe solve the issue.
We need to do a much better job of understanding the why. And frankly, we need to do a better job of not just getting feedback from our best supporters, people who are showing up here, people who are contributing on an annual basis, but we need to really dig deeper to ask younger alumni who had supported Con, but have lapsed for a few years, or alumni who have chosen to not support Con, that why. Because I fully acknowledge that if we knew that why, we would be able to act on that a lot better.
Right. So for example, I work in an office with 4 other Con alumni of various age range, because we went out and recruited, and one's from the class of 86, and he was an athlete and he never gave, but he just gave during this current fund. And when I had asked him previously why he didn't give, it's because he never thought his money was going to his specific smaller sport, but somebody actually reached out to him and spoke to him because I sort of got that message to somebody in the athletics department. So even though he's not in my class year, he was a couple of years older than me. But he hadn't given in 30 plus years.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that part of it is that we have not done the type of job that we need to in order to customize messages across classes. I think that there have been a number of factors here, but we need to do a better job of tailoring our messages and communications per class. For younger classes, they tend to give towards more specific areas, and we need to go and show the impact of those contributions to those specific areas. And again, whether it's $10 or $25, we need to steward those contributions in the same way that we steward larger contributions from other individuals, so that again, that word of mouth goes around in those social networks, so that we have younger alumni who are on these CGO calls with us. And we also need to find kind of maybe new volunteer opportunities that are going to attract younger alumni who maybe don't necessarily affiliate with their classes so much, so they don't want to be class officers, but maybe a certain affinity area on campus. So those are things that we are looking into, but we do need to do a much better job in terms of asking. So your point is well taken. Thank you, Noel.
If the last,
Oops. Go ahead.
I see, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just wondering how much you're doing while they're on campus and instilling in them that desire to give back. To me, that's the place to get them, to make them understand, particularly since so many of them are benefiting from our annual fund efforts. I can't imagine if the pitch on campus while they're juniors and seniors, or even younger, why a pitch on campus couldn't be a really strong one about giving back and making it a, I'm not sure how you can do it, how you can get kids to sit in on something like this, but just imbue them with the giving back syndrome.
Yeah, you're right, Helene, and I see in the chat you're getting some good positive feedback from that. So we are turning our attention to that. Cody is spearheading our student philanthropy efforts, which are all classes on campus. These last 2.5 years have been challenging, and certainly the class of, where are we now, 2026? Hopefully their con experience is going to be much more like the class of 2019. There are some years in between where it's been an anomaly for everyone, and certainly that has been pronounced for college students, but that is a focus, because while we have them on campus, we need to make their experience the best possible, and we need to go and, as you said, instill and really engender that love, support for con, and teach basically philanthropy, which in many cases is a learned behavior. Moving on over, Suzanne.
You've identified that the last year of the campaign is one where you really want to focus on donors. So it seems that we have a 2-year period to really try and gather data on what's happening. Do you have some sort of an organized effort that you're going to do that, or an approach to that?
Absolutely. First and foremost, we know that giving is interactive, and especially among younger alumni, they see supporting a 501c3 nonprofit as an interactive experience. It's not like where I make my gift, I get my letter, and then I'm done. But I want to be in communication with that organization. So we are in-house talking about ways to be able to do that. And then we're going to be going to key stakeholders in the alumni base, and certainly, I'm sure, partnering with the alumni board in order to gather data. So I would say that we are working on that plan. We do not currently have an organized, structured plan to do that. But again, as we do, and as we get that, which we are working on that, we're kind of building the plane while flying it. Again, I've got no doubt that a number of our CGOs are going to be involved in that, because it's going to be that peer-to-peer outreach that's going to help us to gather that information. It's not simply going to be an institutional approach.
Here's a thought that I've had that deals with who's friends with whom on campus. This is kind of a far out deal. But right now I'm having a hard time recruiting other people to assist me in trying to solicit. And it would seem to me, if we had some way of knowing that this was one group of graduates, this is another group of graduates in a class that are friendly with each other, you then ought to be able to target later, going back and saying who in that group is donating.
Right.
And can we approach them to then donate others, which builds on your peer-to-peer thing that you're talking about. And that it's not an approach that's going to work in 2023, but it's one that might work in 2030 when you begin to have that data.
Absolutely. And we are gathering so much more data from student experiences than we have before. And having that data allows us to act on that. So I hear you and thank you for that input. And we'll certainly take that back, because you've got multiple people on the screen in terms of CC Fund folks who are talking about this every day. So thank you, Suzanne.
I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael. I'm a little bit worried about time, and
I was about to say that.
Go ahead.
How about if we kind of go and maybe take any questions in chat, and then we continue on and we kind of turn it on over to Shelby. And then if we have time at the end, we can come on back and we can answer any of those questions, or we can just respond to those offline.
That sounds good.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, my
thanks,
turn. All right. Amazing questions, everyone. I am going to give you all a quick sneak peek at Giving Tuesday. This year, it's coming up on November 29th. This is one of our graphics, kind of our theme for this year. You are the first people seeing this. Congratulations. We're building off of the theme that we did last year with Igniting Possibilities, tying it into the community aspect of Camels Who Ignite Possibilities. And our focus this year, we're going to be using those campaign buckets that Michael mentioned earlier, and focusing in on the specific areas within those buckets that CC Fund supports, and really narrowing down on what donor support can do on campus and for the con experience for our students to kind of, especially for our younger alumni, some of the things that I've heard working with the last 20 or so classes is not knowing what their money is going to. So this is one of those steps in that direction to kind of be more transparent about where their money is going to, what their impact is on campus. And one of the ways we're trying to make Giving Tuesday more engaging this year is encouraging donors to dedicate gifts to camels who have ignited possibilities during their con experience and beyond, and having a list of like an honor roll on our campaign page to kind of commemorate those people who have ignited possibilities for other camels and who have made an impact on someone's student experience, whether it was a faculty member, staff, roommates, teammates, coaches, anything like that, and encouraging people to dedicate their gifts to those people. Sorry, I think my dad just walked in. We're doing great today. Love working from home. And then in terms of ways that you all can help, I know many of you have been CGOs before. This isn't your first Giving Tuesday, but for anyone who's new, there are a lot of things that you all can do with your networks and your classmates to help out. First and foremost, you can give to an area that you want to support, and we encourage you all to dedicate your gifts, kind of set that example for other donors. Thinking about someone who had a significant role in your con experience, who made con feel like home, who was able to get you to the place that you are today, and thinking about the community that makes con what it is. well, you can outreach to your classmates, your networks, and encourage their participation. If you don't already have a class list with contact information for your class, you can reach out to your class manager, one of the CC Fund staff members, to connect you with people. And you can post on your own social media or interact with the college and the ConCall alumni accounts. This is another fun graphic. So this and more you'll see around on Giving Tuesday. And we'll share all of that information and some scripts and templates and things like that with you all before the holiday so that you'll have that ready for Tuesday. And that's it from me for Giving Tuesday. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun. Yay. And I think we've got a few more minutes if anyone has any questions and we want to go back to chatting.
We had about 400 donors in Giving Tuesday last year. We certainly want to up that goal. We're currently working with an internal goal of 500 total donors. And again, hoping for about 2/3 of those to be alumni or students. So again, that's kind of where we are focusing our efforts around Giving Tuesday. And again, Shelby and team have been focusing on ways to make Giving Tuesday much more interactive than it has been in the past. With that, make a gift in honor or in memory, and let's get a Giving Tuesday kind of donor roll going.
David or Ellen, just for the benefit of the CGOs that aren't intimately aware, can you just do 2 or 3 minutes on the athletic challenge, the waves and so on?
Yeah, sure. I might ask Shelby to take it over because she's been managing the project, but I can do it actually. Just chip in anywhere that you want, Shelby, if I'm missing something. So the beginning of November, we started a campaign to raise money for the Camel Athletics Fund. The name of the campaign is called Shatter Expectations, Show Your Camel Pride. And we had matching funds of $50,000, and every gift that was made up to $5,000 would be matched dollar for dollar. We're doing it in sprints, and the first sprint ran from the 3rd through the 5th. Sorry, I'm a little off with time. And we raised over $100,000. And within that, there was also a competition. And for each person, so you support the team that you want to. At the end of the first sprint, the sailing team came in number 1, followed by women's basketball, and then men's rowing came in 3rd. And to make it fair, we did do it on participation percentage because each teams have different solicitable bases, population bases. And right now we're in the 2nd sprint, and we are focusing on the student athlete community, raising philanthropic awareness with them, and also having the coaches do a lot of outreach. The last I looked was this morning, and we were up to 108, over 108,000. This is including the matching funds. And from 518 people, I believe. So that's what's going on right now. Again, if you're not an athlete, you're not going to get any kind of emailings, calls, or texts or anything about it. It's specifically for athletes, and that's how we want it. So
I just got one during this call. I just got an email from the crew coach because
nice.
women's crew alum, it just came in.
Oh, great.
But this is a really good example of trying to tie donations back to personal affinities. So targeting athletes to support athletics is one way to do it. Targeting artists to support the arts is another, and so on. So those may be ways that we can build greater strength among contributions in those younger classes.
Ellen, you nailed it. I'm looking at the page right now. We're currently at 109,000. So that's about 20 away from our goal for this week, 20,000 away from our goal from this week. So if any of you are athletes and haven't made your gift yet, now's the chance.
Okay, quick.
Thank you, Mr. C from 73. Thanks, David.
Subtle advertising.
Yeah.
I'm seeing here a question from Suzanne, and absolutely, CC Fund class managers will work with their CGOs to be able to share alumni from their classes who donated last Giving Tuesday, because that is a very natural follow-up. So we will follow back up on that. And again, another big part of this Shatter Expectations is about the alumni participation. So again, in our first sprint, we had 493 total contributors, and half of those were alumni. We want to, by the time we finish all of our sprints, push those total donors closer to 1,000, and again, still maintain that 50% plus alumni participation rate, so we can see around 500 to 600 new alumni donors. So again, we're also seeing many student athletes contribute to their specific team, and senior athletes. And of course, when seniors give and they graduate in May, and then we submit our numbers at the end of June, seniors count as part of our alumni participation rate. So all of that is added. So again, we're going for total Camel Athletic Fund kind of fundraising totals, as well as increased alumni participation, seeing some strong outcomes. I want to note that we are at time. So again, a big thank you to everybody who's here. I know that we heard from a number of alumni volunteers who wanted to be here but couldn't be here, wanted to make sure they could get the Zoom recording afterwards, which we will follow up with. And again, it is fantastic to see so many committed Con alumni here. And it's a very important time of year. So you'll be hearing from your CC Fund class manager. If you have any questions, please follow on up. But we aim to get the most we can out of these next effectively 4 weeks. But we'll be working hard through all 6 of them. Thanks so much, and let's go Con.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Ellen.